I've been long term working on a video that I can't now do because I broke out. I was about to tell you how I cured my breakouts and they're back. It's late. I'm snacking on chickpeas. Like I've got terrible cravings today. Terrible. Like I'm ravenous. It's not why you guys are here. Well, actually, it is. You guys are here to do what the fuck I want to do. And we're going to do it together. Hello. Hello, hello, hi. It is me, Tazime. Small town Didi. You're Hadim on the Zebra Internet. Akasar. I am back. We're gonna get into it. I'm gonna eat my chickpeas. Then we're gonna get into it. If I were Beyonce, people would be spazzing. Oh, she's just on camera, just eating her chickpeas, eating chickpeas. But I'm gonna have to chop this out because I'm not Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson did this one time, and niggas fainted, dog. A real talk. Resist the urge to be like, do you know how many calories? You know that actually aren't all that healthy for you, as long as it's not sugar. Okay, as long as it's not sugar, I should be okay because I've discovered, I haven't discovered, I've come to terms with how much sugar does not love me. Let's get into this. This is gonna be all over the place because I can't track where I was when I was thinking about this, doing this video a week ago when I was in the trenches. But a while ago, I shared a short with you guys where I said on the short I was watching Teenage Moms, one of these teen mom type things, but a local production. And I remember talking about how having interests as a young girl, as and then into womanhood, into young adulthood and womanhood, m- keeping interests, hobbies, a sense of self, ways to identify outside of romantic interests, how much we underestimate the importance of that in anchoring and developing a sense of self that does not keep you in this loop of being so male centered. And it's come back to the fore for me lately because I live in the ghetto. I've said this. Um, I have friends from all different walks of life. I schooled in the schools in town, right? But we are a my friend group from school, even some of them didn't reside in town. So we come from spaces where we get to see a bit of this, see a bit of that, and that exposure to the little bit of difference outside of even being around different people of different cultures and races. um Also, just like these environments, or the schooling environment of having opportunities to explore oneself and develop interests outside of academics, right? Like that'll be sporting, talent shows, things that get to make you feel good, where you get to discover that you're actually good and talented at something, or you just enjoy it but you're not that, but you get to explore, man. Those things are things that we just don't appreciate as much as we should, until I truly, truly believe, and I believe this, and I don't think it's the only thing we could possibly do. Perhaps there's plenty more that could be done here. But there's this TikTok that went viral when I was in the trenches. Um, during my throws, I was scrolling and I see this post by, it's like a gender reveal. Okay, I'm truly of the thought, you guys, that oh, this video, it's a gender reveal, and the caption is, I may be his fourth baby mama, but I hold the weight of giving him a son. I was like, That's how dim it went. That's how fucking dim my whole life went, because I was like, ain't no way. Ain't no way. Ain't no. And you can tell this was a post by like an American girl or something. And see, now I fucked up my lighting with the dramatics. But like and you oh, I hurt. Like I hurt deeply. And I was like, how do we get here? And I realized that when I shared that post with teen moms, I was like, there's a type of woman, and I have them in my life. Again, I live in the ghetto. I have them in my life where they are so consumed by romantic partnering, like they cannot. They are cons. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? They have no interests, right? Their job is a job they do because you go to work. And it's fine. I don't necessarily think it's healthy to identify by way of, how you make your living. That has its pitfalls. Trust me. Trust me on that. And I'm not saying that, but it's like they have nothing. And I mean, absolutely nothing that they aspire to, that they're good at, and they can just be so everything. Like romantic partnerings are all encompassing. All logic goes out the window. And for the life of me, I'm like, what is this? What are we gonna do? Like when you talk about somebody's your whole life, like no sense of pride. You know that thing out, like when a motherfucker wrongs you and you're just like, nah, my pride ngas kono bodela. Like, I'm sorry, bitch. Like my pride is set up in such a way that even if I still have some affection for this person, how my pride is set up, I can't move past it. They don't have that. They don't have a sense of self like that because it wasn't developed. And the conversation is to say we need to encourage young girls to have interests. I believe that's one of the ways we combat this obsession, this male centered, romantic, heteronormative partnering in particular. This obsession with being partnered to a man to your detriment starts from not feeling good or accomplished at anything else. And the first time you learn to feel good or experience feeling good is sex. Okay, and it's been done to you by a man. A lot of us don't even get to a point where we explore our bodies, really understand that you can make yourself feel that goodness. This is not something that's exclusive to this person. Okay, you've now assigned them this authority to give you pleasure as well. But like, you don't know what it's like to run track. You don't know what it's like to be good at netball. You've never been in the top 10. The only time you received any sense of belonging, accomplishment, being great at something was when you were mujolong. Mujolong mabanzawa mujoloni. Your accolades are in the rafters of Mujolo. That's where you excelled. No wonder that's your place of comfort and feeling like you can't let go, because that's the only place you know how to feel good. That's the first place that ever made you feel good. You got stuck there. You're not particularly great at anything else. You're not interested. You're not a literature bitch. You're not particularly like a makeup enthusiast where you honed in your craft and you're really good at it. You can't really sing. Which is okay. That some shit you're born with is not a skill you can work on or whatever. But it's like there's nothing else. If you pay attention now to your hood friend who is this invested in Mujola type things, they don't do shit else but this. They also are never alone. Okay? Shout out to Miss Wendy, monkey barring one relationship to another. There's no pause for them. They also can't break up with a guy and be alone. If they're getting out of this relationship, understand the monkey barring has already happened. They've already held on to the next penis. It's like penis barring then, right? They're like jumping from like a penis to a penis to a it's the most I can't do it. Like my brain cannot compute as to how you're doing this, how it works. Aren't you tight? They hold on the tightest, and I mean the tightest, to the most toxic of relationships that have never served them a day in their life. Hold on. Want to celebrate being a fourth baby mama because you hold the weight of giving him his first son. Wait, I've held feathers that weigh more than this shit. I have held feathers, okay? Chicken feathers, singular, that weighs more than this shit. Well, he is not the Duke of something, bitch. He's barely the anything of his own family. He probably didn't graduate high school. He's in his own. But like that's the only place where you feel like that's the only time you experience something that feels like a win. That's the first time you've experienced feeling like you got one up on these other bitches, type of thing. That was your first experience of like, yeah, I'm on top. And in the grander scheme of things, what's it really mean? What are we gonna do? This chat is to say, if you have young girls in your life, and I was very deliberate with this, and they take up an interest, you foster it. And it doesn't matter. Like children are gonna fall in love with things, especially now with social media where things trend certain interests. Obviously, use your discernment, right? I'm not talking about things like your children wanting pets that we know they're not gonna be able to take care of for sake of a trend. Then you get the pet for them, and now you gotta rehome it and take it back to the store. I think that stuff is irresponsible, and it's also teaching your children like really terrible ways to handle and deal with animals in a very like in the way that white people deal with people, and we don't want that. That's never a good thing. Okay. That's a part of whiteness we want to leave alone. We saw it on Mommy Club, right? Happy's daughter got a snake because it was all the rave to have a pet snake. Okay, and now they had to take it back because it's no longer fun, right? It's no longer whatever it was doing, or it didn't do what it was supposed to do. Whatever it is, then they had to take it back to the pet store or whatever. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about things like that. I'm talking about I had an issue. I had a thing with crocheting. We took up crocheting. We wanted to crochet. Everybody in the bus was crocheting. I got the fucking crochet needles. Okay, I got the yarns. I got the shit, and I watched videos with her. I'm like, yeah, let's learn how to do this thing that you're gonna do. She'd come every freaking 3 minutes and show me every like second stitch that she fucking did, and I had to be like, oh my god, yay, this is so like, oh my god, we're gonna sell scarves. We are about to be so rich. What about? But it's like when you see that interest, that spark in something, nurture it. Okay, when you see them be good at something, push it. Teach them to feel goodness, to feel a sense of accomplishment. And I'm not saying this entire thing will combat them wanting, because we will, most of us get to that age where we are curious and we want to see what's out there and all of that stuff. But this not having anything as a girl that you are into, that to me that to me seems to be a common thread among all the hoes that I know that are just like obsessed with keeping a relationship. I'm telling you, nothing. They're not even obsessed with like going to church and praying in tongues. Because I would take that. I really would. I would take that over this shit that I'm seeing. I mean, for somebody to be able to say to me, "Oh, Dee, I don't even want to lie to you and say that stuff you always say. I don't want to be alone. I'm not the type to be alone. Like I'm not, and I'm not. But there's gotta be seasons where you sit with yourself and you say, have there been periods in my life from the time I started dealing with boys and men and so forth and so on? Say from the time you were 15 or whatever, when you had your first boyfriend. Have there been breaks? Have they been, and what's been the pattern of that, right? Do they harm me? Or when it gets to a point where I'm seeing that the relationship is getting fraught, do I work hard to keep, like, hold on to it, and eventually it goes away anyway, because you can't hold on to it, right? And then when they break up with me, do I have a dude waiting to take over because I can't stand to be by myself, because I don't even find myself interesting because I don't have interests? You must ask yourself those questions. You must. Little girls need to have things that they are into for them, okay? Interests of their own. And I'm not talking about when they start dating a boy and he's like FIFA, FIFA, and then now they go to school, honey. They learn everything they gotta learn about this FIFA. They learning back this thing, so they can go bond with the boy over his interest. I mean, their own interests. Introduce them to stuff, right? Not especially that they're so stuck in their phones and they don't explore things available to them. Be deliberate about introducing them to different things outside of all of this shit of, yeah, I'm gonna make sure my kids travel so that they're not impressed by you taking them to Durban. Don't get me wrong, them moving around experiencing a vacation for the first time, by way of like their parents in a safe space, that stuff is important. But I'm talking about, like, in addition to that, rather, right? Because I'm not saying don't do that. I'm talking about the little girl should be able to say, no, I can't see you today, Stephen, because I've got book club. I was scrolling on TikTok. I've got book club that want to sit, and they geeked out and psyched to sit with other people and discuss this book. Things like, I was on TikTok now. I was just scrolling and I could see that there were, the thing. People are in the line and then they introduce themselves. They say who they are, and it looked like a crochet club, like people who crochet, like young ladies who crochet, just linked up for a lunch. I've seen it with the cake girlies as well. Because we work alone, right? In a lot of these spaces, the crochet girls, you sit alone or by yourself. Sometimes you want that sense of community, sort of like a colleague type of thing, where you can link up and share ideas and talk about your struggles as people who crochet, as people who bake and stuff like that. And those are your interests. They don't necessarily need to be your interests that you need to then turn into a living and a way to make a profit and all of that. But things that light you up, things that make you feel good, that you can feel accomplished at, that stuff is important. That stuff is truly important. The transparency as well, when you can tell that a young girl is of age and you're the older sister, and you talk about that self pleasure shit, so they don't think this is an experience that they can have with you, because half the time the dick don't even sling right. Like, do you understand? They could do it better. That's a chat. That is a chat. But truly, the young girls on teen moms and teenage pregnancy, I think that's what it's called, they are so young, and all they have to look forward to is groove, and these little boys that are dogging them out, they all living in squalor. I mean, just like the very definition of poverty. Do you understand? There is nothing interesting around them happening. And the other thing we need to remember as to why it is we gravitate towards the sex and the majority and all of that stuff, we're back to this. It's the barriers to entry element of things where there's practically none. You just like need to have a pulse and genitalia of sorts, and like, you can participate. Very low. The barrier to entry is that there is no barrier, really. I mean, you really have to be, I don't know what, you you have to be some kind of, I have no idea what, right? The incels can tell you what, in order to, like, find yourself in a position where you aren't able to participate in the system. It's attainable, it's easily accessible, right? It's there. um So the other interest, the effort for those things needs to be exactly that. A real concerted efforts on our part as the grown women in their lives to push them to have these interests and to introduce them to these ideas to combat this environment that they're otherwise in, where it's just like, you know, the majority element of stuff is easy. It's a low hanging fruit, and you can feel stuff there, and you are at that age where the feelings are feeling, they're doing their thing and stuff. And it's just, I mean, those girls on that show, hey, and obviously, yes, the casting is they do it on purpose, right? They really, really find their people. Like, it's quite deliberate like that. And they find the worst of the worst in the most dire of situations. And when you, I mean, in this particular episode that I had been watching, I think they'd uploaded it on Showmax. That's how I came across that in Shebeen Queens and stuff. Because Showmax is realizing that the modular formula, and maybe that's a different video, is working, and they're getting some of those shows and tooting and seeing it for watch. And they got me, bitch, but I couldn't sit through all of it. There's a dude in a shack, and he's got two of these girls pregnant, and he gave them both. Yes, it's television, right? So a lot could be happening. They probably gave them like 5K each for them to play this role, and it's probably more money than they'd ever seen in their lives, and all of that shit. But it's also like, Oksala, yeah, they are pregnant. Abafa di ring ba lead too, and they were stoked. About what? About fucking what? Like, what are you so stoked about? The one goes, her name is, what is her name? Not Butlali. Doesn't matter what her name is. Mara Monar, she's young, man. Her mannerisms, everything. Ke ngwana, man. Ikebusiu, gilitsufini, awulungisile. She goes, yeah, I was a little like down about it because nothing sharp. Like, the fuck do you mean? I went through a lot, guys. I'm so traumatized. I am so traumatized. Ooh, I am so traumatized because I'm just like, guys, what's gonna happen? What is supposed to happen? And guys, I'm talking, when I say now, we know the hood chicks stuck in this. I'm calling them chicks, but they're grown women like me. Like, we grown. And these bitches have not outgrown the cycle of just having a dude after a dude, a loser after a loser, not having shit else going on. And it, guys, it consumes them. Like, I don't think you get it. If you've never seen it, you don't get it. They can sit the whole day. Give a flaba. Lilantoza, Miss Law, whatever her name is, the chick that stabbed Flaba and stuff. It's that shit where this thing is your entire world, your entire universe. And I'm not saying violence does not occur in situations where people have interests or high level of education or anything like that, but it's prevalent in these situations. Like, truly, it is, because this is the only space where they feel like this. The wording "rugwaule" literally meaning I've invested so much, because they look at a relationship like an investment. Mind you, investments pay out. What are the dividends here? Okay, outside of like a little STI, a sprinkling of some gonorrhea, bitch. What's the payout here? And I fear we gotta just throw them away. If they get out of it, great. You can't help them. In fact, being in community with them can sometimes be so taxing on you as the person who can't identify the way they identify. And not from a judgmental point of view, but bad draina. Every time they come around you, they just want to be talking about how Mang Mang and I aren't getting along right now. It's never anything else. Oh, every time they come around you, They just want to talk about how, and then you can't say anything. That's the other thing. You just have to sit there and listen to how they're dating a no good somebody and how the no good somebody is treating them like shit. But, and then they'll be like, no, mara nangas kono Malaysia. You guys, one of my homegirls went to school in Gauteng. I think in Alex. Is it? Yes. And she tells the story of one of her friends from her time there who, when they, guys, I can't believe I'm about to say this, because just the other day she actually showed me a picture of them. She's like, oh girl, they still together. I was like, baby, no, they're not. And even I think about this girl so much and I don't know her. This girl, Bashile, her Bapasiche grade 10, and her little boyfriend failed, right? By a grade 11. And then by past a grade 11, they went to matric. And that little nigga failed again, grade 10, some shit like that, right? And this girl dropped out with him because never mushiye. Like that's her man and never mu grade 10. Like I said, what do you mean she's a girl? She still don't got her matric. We went on and got our matric. They still together, just like thugging it out and hustling it, and they're calling it love, honey. What do you mean? I could just die. I could just die. What are we doing wrong? Why are the girls not getting it, you guys? Why? But yeah, she's still with her man, girl. I could not believe it. But that was it. And she went to be with her man. Who wouldn't do that for her? Part of it is them picking up on that behavior from watching the women and how the women in their communities move around men and how important men are and how keeping a relationship is so important. Little girls pick up on those things and they follow suit. If they see you sacrificing your sense of self to keep, I'm talking literally here by my street, two little girls, one in grade 7 and one in matric, were recently trending on TikTok, and I think the video was banned and taken down because they went to confront another little girl and beat her up so bad. And the one was yelling, "Unyakonjela muna wena." I'm talking a grade 7 and a grade 8. Okay? Those are like 14-year-olds, you guys. 14. Bakigida ngwana o mongwe ba kgenya ka ntjela monna na. Ah, and then you look at the women in the community that they have to look at, and a lot of them have sacrificed their sense of self to maintain the facade of a marriage, of a relationship of sorts. Have a rotating men come, like a revolving door of men just coming in and out and in and out. And I don't believe this is the only thing that we could do, but I think it's a start. I think it's a start. The girls need to have something that makes them feel good about themselves before they're introduced to this thing. Truly. Another thing that we do a lot that I think it's crazy that we seem to be hyper aware all of a sudden, which we're not. It's just the homophobia jumping out. Anytime we see same sex coupling being represented through our media somewhere, right? Santa, the Santa ad 2 years ago, Santa was gay. Last year, they were mad that Mrs. Claus was a black woman, as if Mrs. Claus could be a white woman. Why would Mrs. Claus be a white woman? Truly. Hmm? Who the fuck have white women ever helped? Like they're not known for their generosity. The fuck are you on about? I don't even know why they Santa. The whole thing that should have been like a black bitch in her like her most her sickest red fits, just like throwing these gifts around to these kids. Anyway, it's not about that. But we seem to be very aware when we see same sex couplings. Oh, they're pushing this up on our kids. They want all our kids to be gay. They just want all our kids to, mind you, the gay kids, their whole entire lives, all they've seen is heteronormative coupling presented to them all through their entire lives, and they still fucking gay. So I don't know how you think this is like how kids seeing gay people is just automatic. I want to track that line of thinking, but what if it spreads? What if I wake up less than smart? I can't, so I'm not gonna try to track it. The thing is, my chat is we do this as a person who dates men. I've seen the agenda of heteronormativity pushed on, and we don't see it as an agenda because it's the default, right? It's the norm. So even when we do it, we don't see. I'm talking preschool plays where there has to be a mom and a fucking dad. I'm talking away in and then there's Joseph and there's Mary and all of that stuff, right? There's always a coupling of a mom and a dad, an understanding of how important this thing is, right? In the television that they consume, right? The language. Okay, mukhonyana waka. Yo, makoti waka. The things we say. And then we're surprised when the children grow up. There is a mosquito up in here, bitch. And they're obsessed with this thing that we every chance we get, we're spewing and reminding, reiterate, like reinforcing the importance of this coupling. And then we're like so shocked that the children understand the messaging is that being, especially the young girls, being coupled with a boy is the thing you can do. The highest, that's an accomplishment. Talking about the weight of giving him his first son. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? That's all. I didn't think I was gonna be here this song about this, but apparently I was. Bye, Yala.